This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Welcome, ladies and germs. It is time for Party Loaded. This is the episode 31 for Wednesday, the 22nd of June. My name is Luke Ritelek. I have three members of the party joining me tonight, as always. Starting off tonight with Jam. How are ya?
Howdy do. I am good.
Cool. We also have Ollie.
I'm apparently salty as hell, according to everyone else, but okay.
It's a day of the
Don't
week.
be salty about it.
And Imogen as well.
Hi, friends.
Imogen, have you stopped watching your sports ball? Because we can't have any of that crap while we're talking about video games.
I've stopped watching the sports ball. I am now back officially in nerd mode.
All right, sweet.
How about that
My
ludicrous
local
display?
sports team is not so local and really not
Did they
that
not
good
sports
at
enough?
sports ball. They did not sports enough. They did not do nearly enough
Sport
sports. Oh, they needed to sport so much harder.
Yeah. Speaking of sporting harder, have you regained your ability to actually look in a 360-degree arc around yourself?
Oh, so hilarious. That was the most frustrating evening of Overwatch I've ever played in my life. So background, for those who don't know what we're talking about, is that I had some weird glitch which I originally thought was my mouse, but turned out to be Overwatch yesterday, which meant I could only turn a little bit left to a certain point and a little bit right. So that was super fun for me, strafing around as best as I could around the maps of Overwatch. I'm sure the other people who were playing with us had absolutely no idea what was wrong with me, but you guys found it hilarious and just stood there staring at me the whole time.
I was spectating you, and I saw the moment where the game took a pun intended bad turn, and oh my god, I've never seen such a hilarious 10 minutes of game.
Absolutely fuming. Everyone's like, what do you mean? No, just do this or fix this. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. It's just, I don't understand it.
It was very amusing to listen to.
If Luke hadn't been watching, it would have not been corroborated at all, but it looked ridiculous. I had a level 136 player trying to heal me, and I can just remember the point where they were healing, and then they've just given up and they've gone to heal somebody else. It was just, and it would come back. It would come back every now and again, so it wasn't all the time. So I thought maybe it was a lag issue or something was going on, but just intermittently could not turn left.
It kind of reminded me of the Overwatch equivalent of when a cat has had some sort of medical procedure requires one of those huge fluted round plastic collars.
Yeah,
so I
was in a cone. Diva was in a cone.
Yeah.
I'd been neutered.
Got nerfed.
Hilarious.
I got nerfed. Good work, Ollie.
Oh, no.
Points for that man.
Yeah, it was gold.
Yeah, that was incredible. In hindsight, hilarious, but at the time, I was absolutely fuming and screaming down my microphone.
I'm just dark when I can catch a video of it.
Scary.
Oh no! It's been a fun week actually. I'm still riding the E3 high. I don't know about you guys. I went back and watched a whole bunch more stuff after we chatted about all the releases last week, and quite a few interesting bits and pieces still coming out of the show, and things that we talked about in brief, and have a lot more information's come out. The thing that caught my attention today is the Spider-Man demo that Ollie and I were really keen on. It appears that most of what we saw was actually in-game footage, so that's really cool. Yeah. Anyone else spot anything else that they missed, which was kind of exciting?
I still have two conferences to watch.
Oh, okay. Which ones did you miss?
Ubisoft and can't remember.
EA?
No, I watched EA. Nintendo.
Nintendo's isn't a lot of different stuff, but yeah. It'll make you sad about the fact that you don't own a Nintendo console, probably.
Well, not a recent one.
No. Oh, Legend of Zelda, so good. Yeah. There was some interesting stuff I don't know if you saw about the Death Stranding teaser as well. So Kojima actually on Twitter has posted a whole bunch of stuff about the hints that were hidden within the teaser. And that was going alongside a nice little fan theory that's been doing the rounds about the fact that apparently that trailer was an ode to his departure from Konami, sort of showing the umbilical cords sort of being severed and, him losing his baby, which apparently was supposed to be like a conceptual nod to PT and things like that. So,
Whoa.
yeah,
That's deep, man.
He's kind of
Super
refuted
creepy.
that. But how funny would it be if that whole thing was just a massive swipe at Konami? That'd be like a classy level of Inception there. That'd be really cool.
That's a lot of work and a lot of people just to do a middle finger.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, if I was the one who was directing it, I wouldn't tell everybody that was the purpose of it.
Yeah, true.
But no. Oh, what's everyone else been playing? And have you actually been doing some other gaming? I know that Jam and I have been.
I did a little bit of that as well.
You did too. Well, should we start with the basic stuff and then talk about your expanded stuff, Ollie?
Sure.
So, finally cracked the seal on The Witcher 3 this week. Woo! Really happy too, because
your time.
that game is like, I'm only about half an hour in and I'm already loving the crap out of it. So, yeah.
And then, because you did that, I was like, well, and I grabbed my Xbox One, put it on my desk and plugged it into my screen. And I got back into it too. Oh, it's so pretty. Except I spent the first hour figuring out how to play all over again and find my way out of the dungeon I was stuck in.
Yeah.
Completely lost, going, what? Huh?
You
I didn't know what was going on.
I'm thinking back to when it released and when Witcher 3 originally came out. I think I was still playing Dragon Age Origins at that... Dragon Age Inquisition at that moment. There's a lot of differences between those two games, but in terms of the control and menu schemes, I'm kind of glad I didn't play them too close together because I think there's some similarities that would have confused me a bit, sort of remembering the layout from one to the other. But... yeah, the game's
They're
really
both involved.
cool. Yeah, like I really enjoyed the tutorial actually. So the tutorial for the game that sort of takes you through the basic controls and things takes part in like a bit of a. It's kind of like a pseudo dream sequence, I guess. That shows a flashback to a scene that happened in Geralt's past. Theoretically. And the way that it sort of plays that out as a narrative and teaching you the control scheme at the same time, I thought was really awesome. I really enjoyed that. I think it was probably one of the better, I guess, intros to a game that I've seen in quite a while. But, yeah, the thing that got me excited about it in general was the whole, the Gwent sort of buzz around E3. So I was like,
many hours
Epic
did you
RPG plays
Plays
card
card
game minigame.
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah. Well, look, I knew it was good, and I wanted to understand the context behind it, so I figured it was probably time to jump in and have a go. But, true to
Did
form...
you crack open Witcher 3 just so you could play it in Gwent in the game before it came out as a solo game?
No.
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
you
he did.
I can feel
You are
that
a
smirk from
sad
over
man.
here.
You have a problem,
not.
sir. You have a
all I'm
problem.
going to say is that the first inn that you come across during the game after your first sort of small skirmish on the road, I went into, I realised that the crucial sort of supplies to purchase at that point with the meagre amount of funds that you have are things like food and supplies to actually help you in combat throughout the next part of the mission. But no, what did I blow all my cash on? 3 Gwent cards to add to my deck. So
You sure
My
did.
favourite
There was
part
like a
with Gwent is that you'll be like, dramatic plot thing with this warlord, and like, oh, drama. And it's like, so I heard you play cards. And like, what? Or like, shopkeep, tense negotiations. So you play cards. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
oh, nice. Yeah,
Everyone's got a problem.
that's
Yep.
right.
The whole world is addicted to that game.
Well, I'm not far enough into it to really talk about much else apart from that. So, Jam, how's your journey been? Because you originally got about 6 hours into this game and you've started from the beginning again, haven't you?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm level 6 at the moment. And I seem to be able to comfortably fight up to level 10 stuff.
Cool.
Maybe a bit higher. I have forgotten what was going on, so I'm exploring. I'm just wandering now that I got free of the dungeon. And I just, after maybe 2 hours, started looking at my quest list and going, okay, let's knock some of the lower level stuff out. Try and recap the the storyline, but it's just lovely. And Roach is funny.
Roach
doesn't do what I want him to do. I can't figure out why. Come over here. Nope.
Yeah. Have you seen the Roach card for Gwent?
No,
It
I
is
haven't played
hilarious.
It.
It's a picture of a barn with Roach sitting on top of the roof.
Yes, now that you say that, I remember seeing it. Hilarious. He just does some odd things.
Yeah.
And
He
then
is
he
a cool
gets
guy.
spooked. But yes, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Although just the outfit that my Geralt, which one is it?
I think it's Geralt. I'm not
Geralt.
100% sure. Yeah.
The outfit he's wearing is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He needs a new tunic already. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm more concerned with dressing him up.
Of course you are.
Every single game, that's all Jam wants to do is new outfits, please.
Jamie,
Like
you'll
new
be happy to
outfits.
know in the expansion there is armor dyeing.
Ooh,
Dye your armor, as I've
Splendid.
discovered.
Played much of it.
I have played just over an hour. So,
It's supposed to be a
I
good
have-
40-hour expansion though, isn't it?
oh yeah, so I've got a while, and it feels big. Like, it doesn't feel like they just tacked on an area. It feels like a whole thing. Yeah, they've done good.
What about the previous expansion that they did? I forget what it was called, Blood and Stone or something.
Blood and wine.
No, Blood and Wine's the one
No,
you've got
Hearts
now.
of Stone.
Hearts of Stone, that's the one. Was
Yep.
that anywhere near as big, or was that pretty minor in comparison?
Think it might have been the same.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but that. Oh no, it was. No, it was. I think around 10-ish hours, 10, 15 hours.
Okay.
Like 10 if you sort of zoom through, 15 if you did absolutely everything, and you got new Gwent cards and stuff.
Ooh. I guess
Oh
I'll
yeah, that's
play
right.
it.
You got rune swords. Remember, rune swords was the thing. So yeah, that was you have to be like ideally level 30 or higher for that one.
Right.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm currently sitting at level, I want to say 41.
What's the level cap for the base game? Is there a ceiling or?
There isn't one, as
Okay.
far as I know.
Cool. It's just like a common sense sort of limit.
I'm on level, yeah, I think I'm 40-ish. I'd have to check. But yeah, I'm 40-ish after an expansion and the full game with a little bit of grinding in there. So
Right. Okay. I look at this whole thing as a pretty massive journey in time to the equivalent of some of the Final Fantasy games, because it seems like a lot of hours are going to be required to get through it all. A lot of hours.
dude, it's I've put more hours into Witcher 3 than I have Skyrim.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Wow.
That makes me
So
happy.
that tells you a lot.
Cool. Oh well, I'm looking forward to doing that and probably adding on another third to that time, because I'll probably spend that playing Gwent. No. All right. Well, oh yeah. Actually, there was one other thing I just wanted to say. One thing I have found slightly jarring about the game so far is Geralt's voice. I find it really weird. Does anyone else?
Yeah, some of the voice acting I'm not a fan of. Whereas some of the NPCs are hilarious and on point.
Right.
It's hit and miss for me.
Okay.
I don't mind it, but
Interesting.
I think just because after 3 games I'm used to it now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm expecting it to probably be the same old sort of just, it'll be mildly grating to begin with, and then
My
just fade into the
mind.
background.
I'm used to it, but it doesn't feel genuine. So yeah, it is a little bit confusing.
It seems a bit WWE wrestler to me at the moment. Put it one way.
I'm here to slay your monsters.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I'm
Very
going to clean
dramatic.
some pools.
Oh, well, we've all been overwatching, of course. Jam, you and I jumped in Minecraft for a little bit, which was
Yay, planning a mansion.
yeah.
Planning a
You're
mansion. Imogen, when you see the pad for my mansion, oh, you're going to be stunned.
I thought you and Luke are building something together?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I want to build something that looks cooler than his thing, right next to it.
yeah. She didn't consult the zoning committee and built the thing on my freaking doorstep.
Excuse me, excuse you.
The building
that-
committee. Who's on the building committee?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Just you? Is it just Luke?
Yeah,
There
sure.
was
It's on my
nothing
doorstep.
marked out. There was nothing marked out. I made a beautiful, pretty pattern in the water with grass blocks. It's stunning. Really big.
I can't complain. It does look pretty good.
It looks fabulous, bitch. And then I am building a
Compliments
mansion.
you.
Bitch,
I hate
please.
you.
And then I'm building a giant mansion to overlook it and look right at Luke's thing and maybe a TNT cannon on top. I don't know.
And subsequently, I've moved down the road.
Yeah,
Jamie will
you
build
were
a bigger
there, so I was
cannon.
like, well, I'm moving into the neighborhood.
So my son's going to rock up and log in at some point and see a TNT cannon aimed at him in my tower. Oh, no.
No, he'll be distracted by my beautiful, beautiful pattern in the water.
Remember that mansion we were going to build in that place that we named after bats? Do you remember that?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Which realm
Oh.
was that? Does that
That
even
was the
exist anymore?
original realm where we transported another bazillion kilometers away from the spawn point and made it too
Thanks,
big
Luke.
to load.
Well, yeah, we've kind of learned that lesson this time.
We broke it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Suddenly, the realm is not like 150 gigabytes.
No, that's
Whoop.
right. Yeah. No. So, no, that's all going good. I mean, once again, it's one of those things you can sort of just jump in and out of and have a bit of fun. But,
Oh, I
yeah.
love it. I have my color palette all sorted. Set up, like, I dyed a bunch of stuff and plonked it all down and said, oh, what looks good with this and that. So, yeah.
Actually, I must admit,
gonna
I got
be
on the
beautiful.
other night and Jam started the conversation with, so I might have just spent the last 2 hours weeding. I was like, okay.
Oh, that's Savannah. That
Just
Savannah's getting
astounds me.
mighty naked.
Wow.
If I ever get weeds in my house, I'm going to just invite you over.
No,
Right.
dude,
Yep.
have
She
you seen
doesn't
my
like-
garden?
She doesn't like weeds in real life.
Weeds everywhere.
She doesn't go outside.
No. Jeez. God. That would require effort. No, I've made a lovely, relatively grass-free environment so people can construct.
Maybe that's what's happening. Like in the world of weeds, they know that you attack them in video games, some like sort of like violence
Getting
towards
back
their
at me.
people. So they're just growing all around your house in protest.
Sounds
Well,
like
that's
you need
just
to
what
get a
they
copy
do
of,
when I'm ignoring them.
You need to get a copy of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare and get that cranking. Well, Ollie, how's the Total Warring going? You still cranking along with that?
I paused it to play Witcher 3, not going to lie.
Yeah, that is fair.
I was like, I could play this, or I could play this. I do like Witcher. So it's on hold at the moment because I'm going to smash through Witcher a bit. I have a feeling that's going to take up most of my time,
Yeah.
apart from Overwatch.
I had a frustrating evening with it a few nights ago where I loaded it up, not having a huge amount of time. I think I had like an hour and a half to spare, and committed to a few battles that I really shouldn't have, and got my ass handed to me, and basically had to save scum it and lost about 90 minutes worth of gameplay, so got frustrated and started Witcher.
Yeah, look, it works, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. I'll get back to it at some point. But, I mean, it's good to have a few different genre games on the go at one time, I think, so you can kind of switch between whatever your taste is at that moment. And I do need to get back to Doom at some point, too, because I still haven't finished the single-player campaign of that either.
What? It's only
Yeah.
like 8 hours, dude. Come on.
I know, but Overwatch, you know. That's the biggest problem. Often I'll get on and I'll be playing Doom, and then all of a sudden I notice that there's about half a dozen of our friends on, and I'm just like, well, I could play something by myself, or I could jump on and play a team game, and team game
Yeah.
usually wins out, so...
I'm the same. See who's
Damn
a mumble.
socialites.
Jump in. It's fun.
Well, speaking of, Magpie syndrome with regards to new games, in gaming news of the week, we had a confirmation from PayPal of all places that apparently next week is the kickoff for the big Steam summer sale.
I'm not ready. I've got too many games to play, guys. I have a problem.
Yeah. Welcome to the club. We have membership cards.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope that Corgi Warlock goes on sale.
Oh, God.
Corgi
I want to play
Warlock?
that
love
game,
it.
but only if it's $1.
Is this
Corgi
another
Warlock.
Hatterful Boyfriend Abomination style game?
No, this one looks
What did
amazing.
you say?
Yeah, and that was,
That was
a
my
great
favourite game, 2016.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. You wait till the end of the year. My top 10 list.
If that's in
It's
your
gonna
top
be-
10, then we haven't given you enough shit to play. I'm
It's
sorry.
going to be a shit fight of the oddest, most bizarre games and some pretty ones, pretty much.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Oh, no.
No, it looks good. I might pick up some things in it. I'm trying to concentrate more on picking up console games, though. Trying to give my Xbox some love. But that's not the first time that they've announced the Steam Summer Sale, so there must be some sort of deal there,
Well,
right?
Apparently they did the last one too, so
Sorry,
I
Steam
wasn't
sales.
aware of that. Yeah. I don't know why they would get the news first, but they actually tweeted it from the official PayPal UK Twitter account, it seems odd. But that turns out it's
Well, maybe
legit.
they're trying to encourage people to pay through PayPal. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean,
never
Valve
know.
may actually give services like PayPal a bit of an early heads up because they're going to be experiencing higher traffic at those times due to the number of people making purchases.
True.
Yep.
True.
But yeah, no, it kicks off tomorrow on the 23rd of June, and apparently will go for about a week. So yeah, I'm going to be
really?
looking out for a few things. I'm really keen to pick up Rise of the Tomb Raider if that goes on special. I think that's
I'm going to have to make my purchases quick smart. Damn it. I'm going to be like
Oh, because you're going to
proper
be away.
AFK.
Yeah.
You
No
could-
signal or anything.
Oh, really? No phone signal, so you can't even use the Steam
No
app?
reception.
Wow.
Little remote farm thingy. Apparently no reception or Wi-Fi. Makes me sad.
Well, what you need to do
Buy a
is
satellite phone.
do that.
For the Steam sale.
Or you could build your Steam wish list before you go and get one of us to pick up your shit for you.
Ooh, nah. It's alright. I'll just
Also
figure
'cause
out
we
what I
wouldn't.
want.
Well,
Yeah.
the impulse purchases are half of the fun, really, aren't they?
Yeah. It's. I'm glad that it's just a week because then it's not that I don't go on and go, oh, I build a wish list and go, oh no, but I actually won't buy it, and then I agonize it over it, and it takes 2 weeks for me to buy it. But we shall see when it comes out. I've already got a big wish list anywhere on there, so we'll see those emails pop off of something that you have on your wish list is on sale.
Everything.
Hopefully it's something good. Yeah,
All of the
hopefully.
things.
You have now purchased Steam.
Yeah, you now own lots.
Have you guys seen that thing that was doing the rounds a few
game
months ago?
equals very much.
There's actually a guy that apparently is trying to complete a quest where he finishes every single game on Steam.
Far out.
What?
Yeah.
Can't
Some of those
be
games
possible.
are
Some of
legitimately
those games don't
shit.
have ends.
Yeah.
Well, the ones that actually are open-ended, I think he's disqualified from that, or he's set like a
Okay.
play target. But the ones that actually have like a conclusion to them, he's actually trying to get through. And to date, I think he's gotten through about 800 games or something. So,
Holy shit.
How do you do that as a, life?
well, step one, don't have a job.
How does he buy them?
Neat.
Well,
Step one, have a computer.
Yeah, exactly. If he does this sort of thing as a social media sort of experiment, he could gain enough followers to potentially bankroll part of it. I don't know. Or he could just be selecting.
This doesn't actually exist. This is Luke just feeling into the waters about whether this is something he
I mean, it
gets
could
to
be a
do.
thing, right, guys?
What's the opinion on that?
It's an
This
actual
is a
My
thing.
great
Patreon
idea.
up at.
Conveniently.
I don't know. I think that personally would take the fun out of games quite a bit if you were on that kind of clock, though. Like, you would be doing nothing else. Yeah. It would get a bit monotonous after a little while, especially because
Becomes a job.
well, yeah, he's committed to playing bad games as well as good ones. So, it's not like he's cherry picking all of the mostly positive review ones or anything like that. He's going through literally everything. So, yeah. Anyway, speaking of games that may not be potentially positively reviewed, apparently we had a Mighty Number 9 launch this week. You guys been following the sordid controversy surrounding this game?
Only
Wordsmith
slightly.
Luke today.
I'm having a terrible
Yeah.
night for it. I need a do-over. This is bad. All right, anyway, so very, very brief history of Mighty Number 9. So it was announced as a project 3 years ago and kick-started to fund the game's launch. And since then, the release date for the game got pushed back 3 times, and it was not a particularly good PR experience each time that it was pushed back. So a lot of people wondering what was going on with it. There was a real lack of communication with the backers and information and that sort of thing. The usual signs of a video game Kickstarter that was hitting troubled waters. But sort of towards the end of the development process over the last couple of months, there was a lot of signs of last-minute problems and complications with different release platforms, and it finally came out this week, and things have not been going real well for it. So a lot of people were keen on this game because it looks very much like a spiritual successor to Mega Man, in aesthetic and background setting, and it's a very, very similar looking character to Mega Man, running around shooting robots, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it has not met expectations of most of its audience, and a lot of Kickstarter backers are having problems actually getting hold of the game on whichever platform they're selected to. So
Yeah,
That's a
the
shame.
streamer wasn't overly positive about, like, the dev wasn't overly positive about it in his review, so he didn't really talk up the game before it came out.
This is why I don't kickstart digital products.
Yeah, it's a real shame, because now, even if it's a great game, it wears the mantle of, the first reviews of it, which don't seem that great, so it could be an actual brilliant game and someone's going to skip over it, so
yep.
it's a shame. Death by review.
Death by review, death by maybe biting off more than they could chew. I'm not sure. I mean, it seems like there was a... Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, true.
Yeah. The writing certainly seemed to be on the wall well before the release actually happened. But I agree with you, Ollie. I think that, kickstarting digital products is always fraught with peril. But ironically, the only two projects that I have ever kickstarted, because I've really held off on Kickstarter, were actually digital products. And do you know what? I've actually never actually played either of the ones that I backed either. I kind of backed them and then lost interest.
I did one Kickstarter for A Never-Ending Nightmare, and that's the only game I've kickstarted.
Oh, really? Interesting. The two I had were the Hex card game, Hex digital card game, which I never really ended up pursuing and playing much because Hearthstone happened, and that was pretty much the game of choice for me.
That's all she wrote.
Yep. And the other one was the Privateer Press War Machine digital game as well. So, which apparently is okay, but it never really, gathered a lot of momentum. Yeah. Never really got massively off the ground. And there was a bit of controversy surrounding, a lot of the units being sort of restricted by DLC paywalls on that one as well. So I kind of lost a bit of interest after that. So Kickstarter, a bit of a risky one. Have you ladies ever kickstarted anything game-wise? No?
Never game-wise, no. I've been tempted a couple of times. I mean, our WhatsApp group is the worst for it. There's always somebody that's spruiking something. And there was the one recently, the Australian one, I got really close to actually backing. But that was a board game, not a digital game, video game even.
Yeah. I totally would have backed Armello if I had known about that at the time.
Yeah, same. Although it's the same deal. Like, I love Armello now that I've played it, but would I have seen that concept and gone, yeah, that sounds great and looks great? Because I haven't jumped on the boat for everything else, and they've come out and been great. I don't know.
Well, in concept, it's really not that much different to pre-ordering games when you think about it. So
yeah, it is.
What would you say the key differences are there? Because you're still sort of paying on the assumption that something is going to meet your desire to play when it releases and putting money towards that.
The fact that you'll know for a fact that if you pre-order something, you'll actually get it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That's a pretty big one.
Guarantee of
cool.
delivery, yeah. I don't even pre-order. I don't pre-order games anyway. Like, I'm not the one who. I didn't pre-order Overwatch. I didn't even buy Overwatch until like the day it was released.
Yeah, we're like, why don't you have Overwatch? Like, sorry.
Yeah, why do I need to have Overwatch?
Like, I played the beta, guys.
For 3 weeks.
Gosh.
Yeah.
No, buy it.
Oh, look, I'll pre-order games on the odd occasion that I have a fairly high certainty that it's going to be awesome. And with Overwatch, it was a special case because of the closed beta early on that got a lot of the streamers and content creators involved, and a lot of people whose opinions you kind of do pay attention to and get a feel for. And when 99% of the people playing it say that it's one of the best things they've played in years, you kind of think that it's going to be a bit of a safe bet. So,
but then why do you need to buy it ahead of time? Like, why just buy the day it comes out? Just
free
there was extra
beta
stuff.
Access.
If you got if you get pre-access, or you get like some cool special skins, or a pet.
It had all of those things.
Did I have a pet? Did you get a pet?
I kind of wanted the Hearthstone card back.
I didn't know that.
Don't you get a Winston pet for Warcraft? And there's like some Hearthstone card backs, and then there was like a Heroes of the Storm
Winston
character
pet.
And all that other stuff.
Oh, you got Tracer early in Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. So there were a few things. Yeah.
It was a decent amount.
Yeah, no, I thought so. And it's that thing with all of the Blizzard games too. Like, they've got that cross-pollination from everything that's on Battle.net, where you usually get freebies for multiple games. So they've done it with just about every title they've got. So, yeah. So that was good. But speaking of games that are actually good, Drawful 2 came out today.
Yeah.
Hey.
That game is so much fun. I love playing that game. I don't think I could ever get tired of playing that game, especially with you freaks. So
I've actually never played it with you guys, so I just realised.
Oh,
But you've played it,
That's
haven't
sad.
Oh yeah, I've played it. I've just never played it with you guys.
you?
So,
yeah, I
yes.
think the time of my life, having people like misinterpreting cards and drawing random crap, just the best.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I wonder if we could just play on mobile when we're travelling. That might be an interesting opportunity if we're looking for something to do while we're waiting in a queue or something like that.
While we're traveling, just do the same thing that we did last time: is just take a laptop with a HDMI cable and you're set. We get internet access.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to hang on to a laptop in the queue leading into PAX or something like that, though. That might be
Oh,
a...
no, I'm not
thing
talking
with-
about. I'm talking about in the apartments or whatever, like afterwards.
Yeah.
That would be
You know.
tops.
Yeah, that
But
would-
you
After
do
party
need
stars.
a machine that runs the game and that also acts as a common screen.
Mm.
So that would be Trixie in a line.
Yeah. Well, it's already
Yeah,
out
so
on Steam for Mac and PC as well as Xbox One, and the PS4 version's coming out later today, so by the time this episode airs, it should be out. And the developer told Polygon today, apparently, that there's not a concrete release for Amazon Fire TV, but it is coming to that too. So, yeah.
I'm
And it's
so excited.
pretty cheap. Like it's only Drawful 2 on its own. Like it's not part of the party pack in this release.
Jackbox,
It's,
yeah.
it's literally just a $10 purchase on its own. But it's actually available 10% off for the first week, so you can get it for $8.99.
Is that Australian or US?
I believe that's US.
That'll be
So-
US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So not that much more expensive for us, really. So. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice, cheap, easy one. Highly recommended for
Good party game, guys.
parties. Yep. Mm-hmm. As per our previous episode when we discussed such things. So it was pretty cool.
Funny.
So, Imogen, what's going on with No Man's Sky? There was some weird news coming out of that today.
I've just realised that there is way too many S's in No Man's Sky.
There really is.
By the way, No Man's Sky. And it nearly tripped me up when I said it just then. Yeah, I've become the resident party loader expert on No Man's Sky. So it's been apparently undergoing a 3-year legal battle, which they've not been able to talk about, over the use of the word Sky in their name. And it comes from the British company Sky, who
dumb.
he's the equivalent for American listeners of a
absurd.
cable channel or a pay TV channel. Station, and they're quite big and it's they are Foxtel or equivalent around the world, and they're quite big.
Well,
But
we
when
get
you're
Sky
looking
News
at
in
this,
Australia, don't we?
yeah, I don't know. That's technically the same company. Might have been an offshoot. I'm not sure how that works, but so basically they own the word Sky. And so when No Man's Sky obviously trying to register their name 3 years ago, there was a legal contest against them. They've since won, so now they can use it and they can call their game No Man's Sky. But to put this in context, this 3-year legal battle is no laughing matter, because Sky, the cable network company, are responsible for making Microsoft rename SkyDrive to what is now OneDrive. So you can imagine the legal clout that these guys hold over the word Sky and protecting that. It is absolutely ridiculous, because in context they're not owning it. They're not saying that it's a proponent of their company. They're not trading on their name in any way. So I'm surprised that it has taken 3 years. There's no word as to whether or not that's why the game the release date was pushed back slightly. The comment at the time when it was delayed from late June to August was because they wanted to make sure that the game was right, and there were some elements of it that they wanted to polish. So it sounds to me like that on top of this battle just made it more convenient for them to delay that start date. But I'm really happy that they didn't have to rename the game at this very late stage.
No Man's Space.
Well, yeah, No Man's open expanse. Or
Especially
something
because
stupid.
it's so clearly a play on No Man's Land.
Yeah.
Well, that's not specifically on land. Like, it's just a word. It has no.
Well, the
I
reason
guess
wh-
with
But it
SkyDrive,
does.
with Microsoft,
It could be seen as
have implied if it's a digital service or something, and they're a digital content provider. Like, there might
They
be
could have
some...
wanted to use it for something.
Yeah, there could be an implication that it's connected to the station. This is just the title of a game.
Yeah, and I think
Like,
with the
how
game,
could
they're
it
talking about a
possibly-
literal sky as well in terms of like the sky above the earth.
The
So.
word sky, not... It's not
Remember,
a
we're talking about the
brand. They're not
legal
trying to
system
create
here.
a brand from
Yeah.
the word sky. They're just using the
And
word
this
sky.
isn't the first instance. We've got, Saga is an owned name. Candy or Crush is an owned name. There's been all sorts of this, and it's going to start getting more and more crazy as more people are able to sort of proprietize very similar or common names. Then this is going to start being an issue. People are going to have to start battling out to call their games things because it
So,
sounds
so
too
Imogen,
close.
would you say on the topic of the amount of dumb shit that people can copyright, sky's the limit?
Oh, see, that was a good one.
Luke's a terrible person.
Yay!
All right,
Okay,
so
good night, guys. Been a good episode. See you later. Bye.
See, you know what I hope? I hope it gets us having like really cool creative names then, because you can't just do like really big obvious ones anymore.
True.
So people have to start busting out the thesaurus.
Yeah, I would have previously said that No Man's Sky was amazing as a name, and
I'm going to call my next game Potato Spatula.
See, that's a cool
Spatula
name.
is an
Also a
owned-
great band name.
Potato Spatula. That's a good band name. I'd go see those guys.
I think that is definitely appealing.
Oh, God.
No! Oh, we opened him up to the food pun.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Sorry.
All right, so
Speaking of
moving
horrible
on.
dev studios who do horrible things to humanity, Clash of Clans have
Damn.
undergone a bit of a buyout, Luke.
Yeah, so I mean, we've had a few of these this year, where with massive game studios sort of being acquired by other entities, and I think one that we took notice of in recent times that was kind of similar to this was when EA Activision purchased King. And that sort of joined the lineup of companies alongside Blizzard, and very similar sort of situation where King is known for having very, very popular and successful mobile games. So now the Clash of Clans developer, which is known as Supercell, has actually been purchased by Tencent, which is the massive Chinese games company that owns Riot Games, essentially, so League of Legends owners. So the purchase has been around the tune of $8.6 billion. And
Whoa.
Huge.
It's pretty massive. I mean, this means that now that Tencent effectively is the largest personal computer games company in the world. So,
And they're releasing their own console, which is going to take over China. So
yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of popular games that they own
screw
now
everybody else.
in the mobile space. I mean, it wasn't just Clash of Clans. I mean, this group, under Supercell was Clash of Clans. We had Clash Royale, which is another really popular one. It's been doing really big money this year. Boom Beach, a lot of people know, and all of those titles are up around the top 20 games on the Apple iOS store. So they're doing really, really well in terms of revenue. Big cash cows, yeah.
I've been known to play the Clash of Clans.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite deep into the Clash of Clans many years
Did you enjoy
ago.
having your
I had a
clans
clan.
clash?
Yeah, I had a little clan of people I actually knew in the real world. I do know that there is people out there. I had a conversation just on the weekend, in fact, where I learned someone had spent $100 in one sitting on this game, buying different things. So that's why I call it the Soul Destroyer, because it's a mobile game that seems really innocuous at first, but then it builds and builds and builds, and then it becomes a bit like playing World of Warcraft. And that's the most hilarious thing, is that some people I see sitting on the train playing Clash of Clans would laugh at someone for playing World of Warcraft, but they're sitting there trading with people over the internet, little tiny men, and coming up with battle tactics and ways to lay out their little bases and things.
Hey, I'm
really
throwing no
well-designed
stones
game.
from this glass
I was
house
about
that
to
I'm
say,
sitting
I'm
in.
being very
No.
quiet here as well.
yeah. So it'll be a good buy for them, and that's a huge amount of gaming properties owned by one person.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sway of the market.
Yeah.
So-
I hope we don't end up with a situation where there's one or two companies that own literally everything, because I think there's probably some implications there with regards to some of the
We'll
diversity.
see the re-rise of the indies. We're already starting to see it again. We'll be just fine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, on the similar theme, we spoke about Vivendi a couple of weeks ago and their recent acquisitions and potential moves into the Ubisoft purchase space, and it looks like they've actually purchased about 20% of Ubisoft's share capital now. So could be in the wings for a future buyout if they get their way, but I think that's something that Ubisoft will be opposing as long as they're able to. So interesting moves.
Dear.
Yeah.
It's like it's our own little video game going on in real life.
Absolutely. Jan, what's going on with PlayStation Plus?
Oh, they've announced there's going to be a free weekend. I think it starts Friday night, goes to Monday night. You can play online for free if you wanted to try it out, see if you're willing to make the investment. It's not any of the games that are available that are free, just the facilitating the online component, the ability to play them
Okay.
with who you want. So yeah, that's neat.
That's pretty cool.
Just for Oz.
Just for Australia. Okay.
Yep,
Nice.
that's what I heard.
Nice. And on the topic of games in Australia, there was something to do with the classification board refusing classification.
I heard earlier today a game's been refused classification in Australia. It looks like it's called, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, MayQ, Labyrinth of Death.
Yep.
And there's suggestions that there's some underage sexual content and drug use. And I know while we have an R18 plus classification at the moment, if either of those things appear to be incentivized in any way or a little too extreme, they won't allow it. So
There's not a lot of games that don't get allowed a classification at all. I think, the last one was Hotline Miami 2, I think.
yeah, the interesting thing is this has been cleared in other countries like America for 13-year-olds.
That's, yeah. But
It's a worry, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know how surprised I am about that, though, to be honest.
No, well, they're usually not bad. So there's not a lot of detail at the moment available, but I'm sure they'll release the classifications board will release some further information about why that happened. But yeah, it hasn't happened much.
Yeah, if they allow a game like GTA 5, just honestly,
Yeah.
and they're talking
Well-
about we won't classify it if it's incentivized or things
You know,
like that.
Fallout, they had to rename. Medex was originally called Morphine,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
which
Was too
led
close to real life, yeah.
It not only too close to real life. You used to be able to take it without there was I think a purely beneficial result of taking it. The
okay.
addiction that you can get in game wasn't too much of a hurdle, so it was too incentivized, too
Yeah, it was,
supportive of
yeah.
drug consumption.
You should take morphine, yeah.
Yeah,
Morphine's
so
good.
they
Nothing will
I think
happen
they nerfed it a little and renamed it in order to get through the classification.
We
That's just
we certainly are a long way down the
distant
track
memory.
from the times where we used to have, cartoons on TV like Roger Ramjet and their proton energy pills. Improving performance. Oh, my God. Yeah, crazy stuff. All right. Well, that's pretty much all for the news this week. So we've got an interesting topic planned for this episode, which is kind of come about as a result of some of the stuff that's been going on at E3 and just in recent times. So I'll handball to Ollie. You want to introduce this one? What are we talking about tonight?
So we're talking about game remakes. Because there has been, and there always probably will be, a lot of games getting remade. And so either whether it's a port, a remaster, a remake, a reboot, and what that basically entails.
So we had a very colourful conversation during the week about this.
Conversation inverted commas.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it was a really good example of how confusing some of these terms can be. So, not necessarily everybody uses the words interchangeably in the same way. Like, I'm doing a bit of research for this topic today. I've read a bunch of articles where what they're referring to in one is completely misaligned with what another one will say. So I think there definitely is some confusion. So
For sure.
should we start with that? Well, let's try and, as a group, define what the differences are between those things. So What should we start
All right. We'll go with a port. That's the easiest one. That's
Yes.
nice and easy to find. They've taken one game that's on one platform and they've made it work on another one. So if it's worked on the Xbox and they bring it over to PC and it now works on PC, that's a port.
But
That's
Xbox 360 to Xbox One, is that a port?
I don't know.
This is the problem we have.
Well, it
during
depends
the
if they're
week.
released at the same time. If it was an original 360 game before Xbox One came out, and
Yeah.
then it was re-released on Xbox One once that was out, that might be considered a remaster.
But if
Because
they've not done anything, if they've
it's
just
been
ported the
improved
Intel.
for the same console lineage. But
Some of them aren't
it's-
improved. Some of them are just made so they work on the new consoles. They're not like they're not have got improved graphics
Well, then,
necessarily.
they
Then I
might
would
be
say that's a
ports.
port.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you can have an enhanced port, which is kind of the same as a remaster, but the motivation behind it will be more
Enhanced
based on the
port.
port. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Fortified
All right.
port.
But essentially,
God.
for
I like that.
ports and remasters, the substantive game is the same.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yes.
uses all of the original assets, pretty much all of the same
Yeah.
code. It's the original game, just, whatever's been changed to make it work on the different console is what's been changed. That's
Sort of the back end tweaks to code it for
Yeah.
different tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just make it
Exactly.
work.
Okay. Then we've got the remake. So, remake for me personally basically goes, here's a really, not necessarily old, but here's an older game. Might not quite work the same in modern day audiences and stuff, so let's modernize it, let's refresh it, so to speak, and release it. But still uses the same, maybe like the same overarching plot, that sort of thing. Maybe just HD graphics it up is possible as well.
Yeah. Or like
So-
2D to 3D. So, it's quite a big jump, but you've got the same characters, the same plot devices. And
So
whatnot. Yeah,
every
I'd agree
time
with
that Mario Kart is remade, is that a remake?
An angel loses its wings.
Well, no, because then you've got the seasonal and I don't know, what would you call Mario Kart? Things like FIFA and Madden. They're just seasonal new versions of the old
Upgrades,
game,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't think they fit in
They're not remakes,
these
no.
categories. They're not even
But Mario Kart
proper
went from, like,
sequels, but they might be.
I can't really see.
2D-ish to 3D-ish.
I tend to think that because remakes very rarely happen on the same sort of level of technology. Like you're usually talking about
Yeah.
something being done ahead of when it was
Years,
originally
yeah.
made. So I see remakes as generally having new assets that are created from scratch.
Yeah.
To support whatever modern technology they're being released on. So it's usually, new graphics, modern game engine. Like Ollie said, they'll generally be faithful to what the original level design was and the atmosphere of the game and the story and that sort of thing, but they'll have completely overhauled graphics. So,
Yep.
yeah, that probably,
Okay.
that
then.
sums
Yeah,
up, I
we're in
think.
agreement.
Oh, look, everyone's sort of like, so that works.
Until we start talking about the actual games, that's when we're going to argue about what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So then we've got the reboot, which can also be called the reimagining, if you like.
I think that's a good way to describe it.
So, yeah.
Reboot is the same, essentially exactly the same story. So
Yeah.
they're just
so
sort of redoing it for a new generation, new audience.
for me,
I
this
don't
will
think
be
it's the same story necessarily.
no. For me, it'll be the game will be completely built up from scratch again. Gameplay, graphics, setting, story all might be the same, but the characters and trademark bits will still be intact.
Yeah.
So the trademark
Yes.
gameplay parts and the characters, they're the things that stay intact. So I'll use Tomb
Yes.
Raider as an example. Tomb Raider is a
Yep.
great example for that. Star Wars Battlefront 2015 is a good example as well, and
Yep.
Thief 2014. So the
Yep.
main characters and devices are there, but they've just started from scratch.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yep. And sometimes from a different point in the character's time period as well, if they're sort of telling the story from a new beginning.
You'll revisit the origin story and maybe change it in order to fit into this new universe.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
built for
Tomb
them, and
Raider's
that's
So
a
it's
really
not
good example of
technically
that.
a sequel or prequel. It's a reboot.
yeah, yeah. It's starting from scratch. It's like the Batman movie reboots.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly like that.
It's Batman, but it's
Superhero
just-
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other example I used during the week when we were talking about it, just sort of in the realm of movie examples, because it's a good comparison to draw, for me was Casino Royale, like the Bond film. So that was it was basically a franchise reboot because the continuity with the previous Brosnan movies had pretty much been, thrown out the window altogether because they told the story in the very beginning of Casino Royale of how 007 got his 00 status. But it was a really interesting one because there had actually been a Casino Royale movie at a point in the past. So they had kind of remade that individual film but rebooted and reimagined the franchise at the same time. So it was kind of a bit of both in a way. So just to further complicate things.
Thanks, Luke.
Yep. This is where we start getting stuck in mud.
Yeah.
Let's not keep things clean and
start
simple.
yelling at each other again. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, like it's also interestingly complicated when you start to throw out continuity with franchises too, because that's a big question that's been asked recently with the announcement of the Gears of War game at E3. So there wasn't a huge amount of information about where that fits in. Like people were asking, is it a sequel? Is it a reboot? Is it what's going on with that?
I must have definition in my life.
Yeah. So we can get to that one shortly,
Labels.
but I think there is a definitive answer to that, but it kind of falls under what those categories are. So, and then we've got the messiness of like sequels and prequels and spin-offs and all that sort of stuff in general. So, or if you want to be special snowflakes like Gearbox Software and have pre-sequels.
What the hell is a pre-sequel?
What's the thing before the sequel? Obviously.
Before the sequel and after the... Wait.
So the example is Borderlands. So you had Borderlands 2, and then the pre-sequel was basically 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. It's the half wool.
Yeah, it was just a cutesy term for it. Yeah.
What all the Star Wars movies coming out will be. They'll all be pre-sequels to each other.
Yes.
So what do you call the Final Fantasy franchise?
A clusterfuck.
Well, because base game to base game, they're completely different. Completely different. Except later on, some of them get sequels, and then some of them start actually relating to one another. I'm lost.
They just...
And now we've got
They're
a...
just special.
Let's not talk about Final Fantasy.
I think
you
need to have a fairly encyclopedic knowledge to understand the continuity with Final Fantasy, and I think, Jamie, you're right. There's limited continuity between different titles. I think that, if I remember correctly, Final Fantasy 7 and 8 had a loose link to each other in terms of like the timeline being fairly accelerated from.
Oh, I didn't know
8.
that. I know 10 got a sequel, which was 10-2 or X2 or however you say it.
Yeah.
And then which one was Lightning first in? See, I haven't played a lot of the recent ones, so
It's probably not a bad thing.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm not sure. Each one of them is virtually a reimagining, though, I think.
There is some angry nerds listening to this right now.
Oh, look. I am expecting to get punched across the internet. Because I give zero shits about Final Fantasy.
You are. Good job, Jam.
I
we have no idea.
a lot of the Final Fantasies, but they've lost me recently. 15's looking promising, so I'm keeping an eye on that.
They do have some common tropes, though. Like they've generally got the elemental creatures that undergo
Guardian
different
forces.
Fucking stupid anime swords.
But see, then they're remaking
The
7.
Yeah.
7 is going to be a remake.
That is a remake, right?
Well,
That's a
7
remake
is
of the
both.
same game.
7 is both. They've actually announced a remaster of 7, so they're basically updating it for modern consoles, but it's going to be the exact same game that it was back then. But in addition to that, they've got the complete remake of 7 as well, which is going to use completely new art assets, have some different gameplay styles.
Why are they doing both?
So they're doing a remaster and a remake.
That's why.
2 separate games?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
want them to
Sony originally
remake
announced
8.
the remaster of Final Fantasy VII to fairly muted enthusiasm in the crowd, you could say. Like, people were really excited for a complete remake, and when the remaster was announced, they were not real happy. Sony kind of got the message.
I remember that now.
And was it Sony? No, it wasn't Sony. I can't remember what it was.
Square, but it
Square Enix, yeah, sorry, yeah. And then they turned around and said, holy shit, there is an appetite for this, we probably better do it.
Duh.
Yeah.
How
So
old
they
is
are
Final
releasing
Fantasy
2.
7?
Why
God,
wouldn't anybody
at least
answer
20
my
years.
question?
Sorry, what?
Are they actually releasing 2 separate games?
Yes.
Apparently.
Yep.
A remaster and a remake.
Yep.
What?
And
So my imagining would be they would have gone, all right, we're going to do the remake. Okay, that's a bit lukewarm. Well, we've already started it. Time for the remaster.
Yeah, I knew the remake was coming out. Did not realize they were just going to release a remastered version of it. that seems silly.
Interesting.
Seems like money.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was a really popular one. I only ever played 8. So.
Oh, it was a defining game for the generation for sure.
Yeah,
A lot of people have got
when it kind of exploded.
yeah. And for its time, it was a really, really good game. There was a lot of
Incredible
concepts introduced into it. It was probably one of the first real open world games that gave you a lot more to do than just the on rails story. You had a lot of agency in the way you moved around the world and interacted with different elements. And there's a lot of side quests and side games and activities and stuff as well. Chocobo Racing was a whole thing in that game. Like it took a huge amount of your time.
Looks astounding. See, I only ever played 8, but 8 was probably the first game, like you said, the first game I ever played that I didn't. What do you mean I can just walk wherever I want?
Yeah,
I don't have to go do this immediately? Okay. Yeah, so 7 will be interesting. Well, maybe I'll pick up the remake. I don't know if I'll pick up the remaster.
Well, the remake
Certainly
apparently
won't be
is going to
picking
be
up both.
episodic as well, so...
Oh, nope, done.
Of course
out.
it is.
Don't care.
Of course it is.
Off. I'm out. I'm not doing it. No more episodic crap. I'm done. Can't do it.
Aw.
I don't know. Well, the episodic approach could work for certain games. I don't know how it'll go with Final Fantasy, but it certainly seems to have worked well for the Hitman remake. So
Is it though?
yeah, been getting quite a bit of positive press, and
And that's technically a remake?
yeah, I think so.
I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah.
I'm just shit stirring.
Yeah.
Well,
Is this a reboot?
sigh.
Or is it a reboot? Because it's, hey,
Yeah.
remember Hitman? Hitman was great.
I will play
Let's
it and
release
then
it
I will tell
episodic.
you.
It's a new
Or
game.
is it a sequel?
No,
All
it's
right,
definitely
well,
not a
how
sequel.
about-
Yeah,
How about
Hang
Doom
on.
then? Doom's the one that we argued about over WhatsApp.
yeah,
Was it?
yeah. Okay.
So
But
Doom
Doom's a
is, Doom
sequel.
is,
Reboot.
but yeah, that's what I said. It's a sequel.
I don't even know. I haven't played it.
I
Truly a sequel?
I
But
tend
they
to
just
think that it's a
they've
reboot.
named it as Doom 1.
Okay.
They've renamed it as Doom rather than Doom
is it
4.
relying on the old games as canon and
Okay.
as
No.
source material?
Correct.
Yes, there is.
Oh.
So events that have happened in the previous games are mentioned in this game.
As like
So
the
it is
past.
it is a sequel, but yeah, it is also you could
just
play it as a standalone game, and that's fine.
Oh, so could we call it like the franchise is getting rebooted
Yeah,
in
it's a franchise reboot. Yeah, it's a sequel, but technically they're rebooting it with the name.
It's a weird
Because they
case
didn't go
because
Doom 4.
the story in it is so loose, and they don't take themselves seriously enough to really give a fuck about it. So,
But it does follow the
Still, it's a-
continuation very well.
Yeah, and it's a trend. So Doom's not the only one to do the same thing. Prey's the same. So Prey was just announced, which will technically be a sequel to the original Prey, but not calling it Prey 2. They're just going to call it Prey. So that it's just this new kind of new generation. It's been a while since you played the first one. Yes, it's a sequel or a continuation of the story, but we're not going to name it Name 2 or Name 3. We're just going to rename them. Let's start this again, and it's sort of like a promise of things to come. We hope.
Okay, so then what about Crash Bandicoot? If they don't have the same level design, it would be a reboot rather than a remake, right?
Right, so
I agree.
Because
what was announced for Crash at E3 was that they were going to be remastering the original 3 Crash games. So they basically will be taking the exact same level design, updating the sort of assets to the new generation, and that'll be pretty much the exact same. The thing that they did say, though, is that they are actually going to bring a modern version of Crash to the Skylanders franchise, but because that's going to be a Skylanders thing as opposed to a full game on its own, I don't think you can really call that any of what we've just
yeah,
discussed.
that's just sort of cross-promotional.
Just extra
junk.
Exactly. Yep.
That's just a little model that goes on nothing.
Yeah. Pretty
And then we've
much.
got the spin-offs like Gwent.
Yeah. Which is, that's not really a... I guess they are kind of remaking the game in part because they're changing a few of the rules.
Spin-off.
But, yeah,
Spin-off.
I think spin-offs can probably remake a few
Oh yeah.
aspects
If
and
they
things.
change the rules majorly, will they have patches for The Witcher 3?
The rules aren't
Proper?
majorly different.
Okay.
It's
But, I
literally
mean,
just
if
an
they- if
interface
Gwent
and a
goes
new
on-
cards thing.
Yeah.
But if Gwent goes on and they're still releasing content for Witcher 3, do you think they'll patch it to sort of backdate updates to
Nah.
Gwent?
I doubt it because one of the things about Witcher is that you've actually got a whole game built around your ability to obtain additional cards, whereas obviously you can't do that in Gwent. So there's got to be differences in terms of how the resources you've got evolve.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if, you really enjoy the game in-game, you sort of do the spin-off, whether you'll still play it in The Witcher 3 or you'll just play it as a separate game now and it'll become sort of less of a deal in The Witcher 3. Seems interesting idea for a spin-off to pull people away. It's kind of like they add things into World of Warcraft to make you play because it's still in the game. Like they added pets so that you can still enter the World of Warcraft and still play Pokemon.
Well, I actually think that's one of the big draws. And the one that I remember that's very similar to that as well was there was a card game in Final Fantasy VIII which I think was called Tri-Square or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and one of the coolest aspects of that game wasn't necessarily the game itself, which was fun, but it was the fact that you could adventure around the entire game world and beat different characters in the game and obtain like rare cards. So part of the fun was actually going on that journey and getting the Easter egg content. And if that was just a standalone game, you wouldn't really have that, if that makes sense. So
exactly. Well, and it's the same for WoW. Like WoW, you've got there's whole quest lines and there's whole extra parts of dungeons just to get special pets and rare bits and bobs. So it seems odd that they would have this spin-off that pulls people out of that game proper. But
I think that's the danger with a lot of the spin-offs.
Maybe they're also looking at the fact that, TCGs are becoming a real thing and they have one that's great. And so maybe they're worried that there's more people wanting to play Gwent than there is to want to play The Witcher 3.
Well, Gwent will probably outlast The Witcher purely because of the nature of the game. It doesn't mean it's a better game, but it will probably have the ability for them to iterate on it for a lot longer period of time than Witcher. So,
and solid name. I'm down with Gwent. It's fun to say. So I think they're onto a good thing.
Yeah.
I saw
Gwent at me.
Picture on Reddit today of CD Projekt Red's 2004.
Oh, their booth.
Booth? Their booth? Yeah. It's so tiny.
It was just a desk with a monitor and a chair, and that was it?
Yeah, showing Witcher for the first time. It's amazing.
Look how far they've come.
Yep. All grown up.
Phenomenal.
And then, of course, Skyrim is the ultimate remaster. We all agreed on that. That's a straight remaster. There's no major content difference. It could have been, I guess, seen as a port. Could be a port.
Hang on, this is actually interesting. Can you really call it a remaster if basically what you're going to be getting on console is the equivalent of Skyrim on PC with the mods?
Yeah, and that's why we're saying, is it a port or a remaster? Are they porting the PC version, or are they remastering it to include mods?
I would say it's a remaster because it's updating, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can have mods on consoles, they're just updating the game to allow for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in reality, we don't actually know the extent of the things they're going to change either. So, the remastered version of the PC game will probably have a few extra bits and pieces that the current one doesn't have, even with all the mods attached to it.
You'd hope so. Otherwise, what's the point?
I want to see people shouting Dovahkiin in Khosrow is what I meant. Khosrow in a VR headset.
I can do that for you, Jen.
What about
you just let me know when you want
games?
it to happen. I'll log on. I'll yell.
Okay.
I'll yell at you all day. I'll thun you all day.
We had the announcement of Fallout 4 VR and Doom VR at E3 as well. So which category would we put those in?
Yes.
Remasters.
Remasters
they're
to be
updating
for
the
a
tech.
VR environment.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Or is it a port? See?
No.
Oh.
No, because it's still on the same
console.
platform.
Yeah, platform's the same. There's just new tech involved.
But
Well,
is
no,
that
that's
what
like saying
technically...
I'm remastering this game. Now you can use a mouse with it. That doesn't make
No,
it a port,
that's a stupid comparison.
but it's appropriate.
It's getting nasty now.
Yeah, it does fundamentally change the way that you
Being
interact with the game,
facetious
though.
now.
So
Yeah, and there's going to be a whole sort of VR existence, but I guess you could still play it on. It will be a remaster.
Console though.
It'll be a remaster for the consoles we have now, but a port to maybe the PlayStation VR.
yeah, that's probably a fair way to look at it. Yeah.
Because when you say new tech, it's not like I've got a new keyboard and it's better than my old keyboard. This
No,
is
no,
entirely
I'm saying as if
new
there wasn't a
functionality.
keyboard in the first place.
If the background coding's the same, so if you're stepping from original Xbox One to Xbox Scorpio,
Yeah.
it's the same basic coding and tech behind the scenes, right? But
Just the visual
Probably
output's
not.
different.
Yeah. Look, Ollie, I might agree with you if you could just attach a VR headset to the game as it is currently, but I think it's clear that they're going to have to release it in a format that actually supports that view and control scheme to be able to operate it in VR. So I think it's a little different for that reason.
No different than upgrading assets to bring it up to a new console generation, though.
Maybe. I don't know. Look, it's hard to say until we actually see it, I guess.
That's also true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Minor
actually
detail.
Yeah.
Haven't actually had
we don't actually have details on it yet.
Minor
but
detail.
we've
We're
decided
talking out
that
of
it
our
says-
asses. Minor detail, yeah.
Spurious
Well, we're
facts
trying to
with
draw
party
lines.
loaded.
Well, let's get back to God of War, because I thought that was a really interesting one. So,
That's a sequel. It's really easy. They said it.
Yep.
They did say sequel, but I think at the same time as it being
Dad
a
of
sequel,
War.
it is a franchise reboot as well, because the whole point is for it to start from a new footing with a new generation of
Really?
graphics, game engine, and basically start the story
Mythology.
off in a new direction. Yeah. So it can be both in that respect, I think.
I think Tomb Raider is the best example of a reboot. And a good
Oh,
reboot.
easily.
Fantastic
Yeah.
reboot.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because
And
those
Star Wars
newer
Battlefront
games are
as well.
amazing.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we've had some good examples of reboots that we think are good and ones that are maybe not so good. So, what do we think is an acceptable reason to hit the reset button on a game franchise and actually reboot it or remaster it or
When the
things like
game
that?
company has no more ideas left.
No, I think
Hush.
probably that could be true, but I think it's mashing the nostalgia button pretty hard. So the games like Doom, Prey, even, and Final Fantasy VII, they're trading on that. Oh my god, I remember I used to play that game. Feels.
Yeah.
And so that's, they're trying to say, look, this is the same game you always loved, except we've brought it up to the new tech. It's still kick-ass. It's still the Doom it was still the Doom that you enjoyed playing, except now you get to play it in, 2016 reality and see all them smashing people's skulls in more realistic squishing noises. So yeah, I think there's a good... Sorry, I went way deep into that one.
You did. Freudian slip?
Maybe. But yeah, I think that it's... this whole world of porting and remastering and remaking is just an example of, at the moment, we have a generation of people, us, by the way, who are now with disposable incomes, kids of our own. We're at a stage where
Love us.
we have access to multiple different game consoles and things like that. And so now we are... it's more than ever lots of people are playing games. So let's re-release a whole suite of games in a world that we know these people loved. Like when you guys were growing up, these are the games you loved to play. So we'll remake them, remaster them, or port them and we'll make squillions, and they are.
Plus, it saves them a ton of effort.
I think
Exactly.
a really, really good example of this in the last couple of years was the Rare Replay collection.
Correct. That was
awesome.
huge. And I honestly do not think that Xbox thought that was going to be as big as it was. Because it was sort of released as sort of a small little add-on to a thing, but now it's become huge, and now there's like Rare Replay Gold Edition and everything else, and everyone went nuts for Battletoads. I've never played that game before in my life.
Because it's really,
But
really
everyone-
good. You should play it.
Everyone went mental. But it's the same deal, like, now that I'm in a position to do so, all I need to hear is those noises of Mario. Oh, this is a really good point. I watched like a streaming of them using the new Mario pack for Minecraft on the Wii U. And everything came flooding back, and I instantly wanted to buy a Wii U so I could play just this Minecraft skin pack, which is just insane.
Yeah.
But it's because I loved playing that game. So now they've ported the IP across to a new system, and of course I want to play it again. I remember playing this game; it was the best.
Well, isn't
They're
Super
trading
Mario
on
Maker
fields.
a really good example of a way to sidestep this entire sort of categorization? Because Super Mario Maker is almost like a reboot and a remaster of Mario 1 through to Super Mario World, and then there was one further than that they did, wasn't it, Ollie?
The 3D one.
Yeah. Like they've kind of got away with rebooting all of those games in a format where you can literally customize them yourself, and it's a whole
play
new
all the
package.
bits
Really
you love.
angry doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. So I think think that's an acceptable reason to sort of, for a game franchise to do it. And I like to think, other than the cynical side of me, or I'll start calling my Ollie side,
The salty side.
that says that they're doing it for money. I like to think that what they're trading on is this, these people, this is our audience. So let's help them. Let's give them something they want to play and that they're going to love to play.
Let's help them. It's like, okay, our audience is this
Let's
age
help
group
them spend their money.
demographic. Let's empty their wallets by hitting that
Yes.
nostalgia button.
I think
That's
it
it.
also helps the developers with reboots. You can have some freaking fantastic ideas for your character that gets completely messed up by the canon you've built up over the course of the franchise.
It's a
Yeah.
good clean slate.
So, yeah, hitting the reset button means, oh my god, new things, exciting things, same character everyone knows and loves, but adventures that they won't expect or anticipate. So it's exciting and fun, but you got to do it right.
Yeah, agreed.
Sure.
I think it's not acceptable when it's not enough time has passed and not enough content has sort of
Yes.
made the franchise collapse under its own weight. like that.
Fantastic Four. What? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
That just
Yep.
came out.
Yep.
agreed.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's and it's a big risk. If you're gonna mash the nostalgia button, you best get it right, because you're trading on
Spider-Man. Oh,
someone's
what? Jesus.
Yeah.
It's happening again.
Guy, you need a tissue.
I do.
Are you
Sorry.
right there, Ollie?
This new form of Tourette's that you've got, Ollie, I think,
Cynical Tourette's. Yeah, no, but it's a big risk. If you're gonna play on someone's emotions, you best get it right.
Yeah. And sometimes
goofed.
people don't actually know what they want, and what they think they want is actually not what they want. So I'll give you a really good example of this, and I was talking to Imogen about this the other day. I, a couple of months ago, watched some original Gen 1 Transformers, like the very
Don't
first
do that.
series. Yeah, no, exactly.
Don't do that.
I had some awesome sort of memories, nostalgia-wise, of how much I enjoyed that when I was a kid and how great it was. Going back and watching it kind of destroyed the shit out
Bad
of those memories
idea.
for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
bad idea.
It was
Same
not good.
for me as The Dark Crystal. I loved that movie. I watched it as an adult, and I'm genuinely terrified. I could
It's
not watch the
creepy.
whole thing. It's so creepy as an adult. I hate it. It's
Luke?
so scary.
With the Transformers one, just stick to the animated movie. That's done okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
can
fine.
vouch for that.
Yeah.
Or watch the new Voltron.
Yeah, well, that could be an interesting one too.
Reboot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of money-centric reasons why it's perhaps not the best thing for the fans to reboot a franchise. But then again, when you've got so many people crying out for it and saying, we want this, it's kind of hard for a company to say
people
no
what
if
they
they've got
want.
the resources to throw at it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII is a great example of that. They got the feedback pretty immediately that people wanted a remake, not a remaster, so
Yeah.
they gave the fans what they wanted. So,
Well, what do you wish was remade? Is there anything you wish that they would reboot or remake for the new systems? Anything
would-
you wish would be maybe rebooted in VR?
rare replay aside, I would love to see a modern-day take on Battletoads. That would just rock my world. That'd be so good.
So shocked.
No, I'd be very happy if they did that. And I've been really keen to see them do like a modern day take on a Spider-Man game, which thankfully now is happening. So I'm really excited.
That's what
about
I'm
that.
excited about.
True.
Yay! They're making Spider-Man 2 good again.
But can you imagine if they make it not good?
Oh, then that's fine. I'll just throw it
They'll
in the
be
bin.
crucified. Yeah.
Well, I've still spent my money.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else we hope's rebooted?
I'm trying to think.
Remade.
That's
I'll
a
say
standout for me
Wolfenstein,
at the moment.
they've all been remade.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of been there, done that.
Thief got remade. System Shock is
see.
basically getting remade in Prey.
Echo the Dolphin. That'd be badass in VR.
Echo the Dolphin.
Make me a dolphin.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
I've
don't know,
just
what
thought
would
of
you
one.
guys
Hang on.
pick?
I need to know if this has already been remade, though. Oh, it has been remade. Son of a bitch. Carrier
What
Command.
was
It's an
it?
old
Oh,
DOS
no.
game. Oh, actually, speaking of old games, Magic Carpet. That game.
Ooh.
Do not know
That
that game at all.
I would like that game to be remade, and if someone has done it, I'm looking
What
it
is
up
Magic
now.
Carpet?
It was basically you're a wizardy guy that would fly around a magic carpet with a
Okay.
completely malleable world. So you could raise giant mountains, make canyons, you'd fight monsters and raise undead and build cities. And this thing was made in 1994. Like, it was ridiculously good. And
Yeah.
available on GOG. Just so you guys are aware, it's like $5, I think.
Oh, I'd like a remade, a remake of Black and White, the God
Ooh,
game.
That
yes,
would
yes.
be good. That would be very good.
Isn't that
That
kind of
game was
what
already
Fable
really
was,
good.
though?
I love that. No.
It wasn't.
Nah.
Really wasn't.
Yeah,
Just
nah.
no.
Just no, shut down. Yeah,
Fair
that would be cool. Also, anything Stronghold-esque. If they could remake it like not glitchy and not horrifying graphics, I would still play that.
Dungeon Keeper.
Still play it.
You wanted that, please.
Yeah,
You want a
not a
Dungeon
stupid
Keeper.
mobile game with predatory fucking cash purchases, microtransaction shit in it. That'd be great.
The reality is all of our favourite games are going to be made as mobile apps with microtransactions.
Well, that's because they're also
Ollie.
small.
Because we're all old as fuck.
Oh, speak for yourself.
Ollie, I've got one for you. Wouldn't it be awesome if they did a remake of Silent Hill?
It would, Luke, if I... Oh, wait. Oh,
Assholes!
yeah.
Snap.
Thanks, Obama.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
I want micro machines.
You have that.
Oh,
Trackmania.
Yes.
I want
Trackmania.
actual micro machines.
Trackmania. Play that game. You will love it.
VR micro machines. Just put them all over
If you
your
did that,
house.
you'd vomit.
Make them AR micro machines.
All right, so if we were all to pick like what we think our best example of a remake or a reboot or a remaster is, what would your number one or maybe top couple of picks be?
For each thing, or just for like...
Well, just one across all those categories. If there's something that stands out in your mind as something that's gotten a fresh
Tomb
breath
Raider.
of life.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with Jamie. I'd say Tomb Raider. I played the original games and I saw where they were going and the big break, and the reboot has been amazing. And the most recent game is astounding. So I'm down with Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider for a
What do you
reboot for
think?
me. Remaster, I'd have to say The Last of Us for PS4.
Ooh,
And...
love that game.
Maybe the Resident Evil remake for the remake for me.
Ooh, that was a good one. Yep.
So yeah, remake for me, I'd say Resident Evil. Remaster, I'd say Last of Us for PS4, and then reboot, I'd agree with Tomb Raider or Thief. Thief 2014 was pretty good as well.
Cool. Yeah, they're my two exactly as well. I would have said Last of Us for remaster and Tomb Raider for reboot. Tomb Raider reboot was just so friggin' good. That game.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And look, in the end, we all agreed and nobody died.
Yeah.
I am surprised
No
at
Imogens
us.
were
We've
hurt
grown
in the
as
making of this
people.
podcast.
Imogen,
Yeah.
have you played Last of Us?
No.
You should. Now's a good time.
We should fix that.
No, she needs to play Mass Effect first.
Oh God!
Oh
Oh,
my
God!
gosh.
So
And
many
Witcher.
games.
Don't
We
forget
have
Witcher.
Ori
For
and the
you.
Blind Forest first.
Yeah, finish that one actually, because you're the fangirl for it.
Yep. Pretty much. All right. Well, yeah. Good chat. That was a good list of games. Take a trip down nostalgia road in the process.
And no one
Yeah.
crashed.
That's right.
No one did.
No one crashed. I wonder if we can pick up any good reboots or remasters on the Steam sale next week. Check out that
Potentially.
list.
That was a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
Super creepy.
Yep. I would actually
Speaking
be
of
interested in going
ports-
back and playing the original Silent Hill games and seeing how they hold up. I
Don't.
think that would be
Just don't.
intriguing.
Don't know. Listen, it's the same thing as the original Transformers stuff, Luke. Just leave it with your happy memories. You don't need to redo those things because you look at them with a different lens.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Sometimes it is worthwhile just leaving things be as they are.
Just let things lie. Just remember the happy things. The happy things. Be done with that.
You know, one game I loved the crap out of when I was a lot younger, which I think would probably be really, really bad to reboot because it just wouldn't, or even go back and play because it would not hold up, is, Ollie, do you remember the first-person shooter that was out around the same time as the original Quake called Blood? Did you ever play that?
No. I was busy playing good ones.
Yeah, well, it was around just after
Sorry to
Duke
everyone who
3D
loves Blood.
it came out.
Oh yeah, Duke Nukem.
Oh, let's not talk about that remake,
that's
shall
probably
we?
the classic example of a remake that went bad
Yeah.
So bad. So bad.
when not to
It's
do it.
all out of gum.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's wrap things up and go play some games. So if you want
Indeed.
to hop on to contact us and let us know what your favourite reboots or remakes or remasters or reimaginings or just whatever.
Feel free to correct all our
check us out.
definitions.
Just
Pre-re-sequels.
pre-re sequel boot imaginings. Yeah. Mail at partyloaded.com. You should do that. And Twitter at partyloadedshow, facebook.com/partyloaded. Have a post there, have a chat, and tell us what you think. And we reserve the right to completely disagree with you.
And each other.
We're all wrong, even though you might be right.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be able to disagree with you next week.
No, Jam's going on a short trip. Out to the funny farm.
We'll send her away just for a quick reboot.
Not a remaster?
No, she won't come back any better. I can guarantee that.
Depends on how many wineries I visit, maybe.
It's also true.
Yep.
It is the downside of living close to a wine region.
It's going to be fabulous.
Yep. We would call that one a port.
There will be much port to be had. Oh,
I'll pay
so
that
much
one. That
port.
was good.
All of the ports.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll see everybody same time next week for another fun hour or so. Till then,
Except
good night.
me.
Ta-ra!
Goodbye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.